Greetings, adventurers. This is Lauren, your guild advisor, and with DanMachi's 4th season coming to a close, a lot of us have some questions about what's coming next. Now, as of right now, there is no announcement for the next anime project when it comes to what's happening after Season 4. With the previous few seasons, at the end of Season 2, they directly announced Season 3, and I think it was either directly after or maybe a week after Season 3 ended, they announced Season 4. It's almost been about a week now. We haven't heard any announcements quite yet. There is an event called Anime Japan that's happening this weekend, so we might hear an announcement then. And one reason why I think that we may get an anime type announcement is because we're currently celebrating DanMachi's 10th anniversary as a franchise. And over the course of this anniversary, they've had several different announcements, and they said there was going to be 10 different announcements. The first announcement was a planned consecutive release of 6 light novels within 6 months, and that was starting in October, I believe, with Astrea Record Volume 1, and then Astrea Record Volume 2, 3 in December, DanMachi Volume 18 in January, and then February was S4 Oratoria Volume 13, and then in March, S4 Oratoria Volume 14. Now, all of those are Japanese releases. There's no confirmed dates for any of those 6 novels yet. In English, well, much to my frustration. But anyway, there's various types of announcements like that happening over the course of the anniversary, and we are finally coming to where there's one more 10th announcement that has yet to be made. And originally, I assumed they were going to do that 10th announcement like right after Season 4 ended. That has not yet happened. So that's why I think it's going to happen at Anime Japan. They said the franchise would have a presence in the area. I think there's going to be like a booth where there's at least merchandise. The Japanese Twitter account for the DanMachi anime did tweet about it, and it goes to a link to the DanMachi website. And I'll just read the Deep L translation here. It says, "We are pleased to announce that DanMachi will be exhibited at the Warner Brothers Japan booth at Anime Japan 2023 over the weekend. The theme of the Warner Brothers booth this year is Retro Theater. Movie ticket-like stickers will be given away at the ticket vending machine in the booth, which will resemble a retro theater. Be sure to get your DanMachi stickers." So, the stickers aren't exactly exciting, but it says, "In addition, a giant screen will show the new PV and OP videos of previous WB-related titles," so not necessarily DanMachi, and it also says previous, so it sounds like they're just showing off some of the other anime properties they have. There will also be special clear files, 3 kinds of Danklo. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Danklo, DanMachi, and Shippu, which is Gale, Ryu, Leon, figure on display. Okay. So, not much to go on there in terms of like a possible new announcement for an anime. But again, guys, like this is supposed to be the final announcement for the 10th anniversary. It would be so strange if it was not an anime related announcement. Now, as far as to what that anime announcement could be, I have a few ideas, and I'm curious on what ideas or what hopes you guys have for that announcement is. I've seen some people point out that since the previous seasons of DanMachi 1, 2, and 3 all had an OVA released sometime afterwards, that Season 4 might get one. That is possible. I would not be surprised if they did announce an OVA at some point for Season 4, because as people pointed out, there have been OVAs for the past 3 seasons. It's just that me and the DanMachi OVAs do not have the greatest relationship, because the 3 OVAs we have gotten are all just fan service nonsense for the most part. Like they're not adapting any like extra source material. Seasons 2 and 3's OVAs particularly bothered me because, as I've said before in my previous coverage of those 2 seasons, they skipped a lot of content. So me thinking like, oh, an OVA is a perfect opportunity to adapt some stuff you missed out the first time, and then just some fan service nonsense. The Season 1 OVA did not bother me as much. The only gripe I had with that OVA is that I thought when it was initially announced, because it didn't say what it was yet, when they announced the OVA, I thought it was going to adapt Quest, which is that little side story about Naza, because that would have been cool to have before season 2 when we see more of Naza. And again, they did not adapt Quest. You had to basically either read the novel or watch the event through the mobile game. But anyway, as far as a season 4 OVA goes, they really have a few options to go with that. If it's just going to be like a 1 episode thing, I don't think they would adapt volume 15, and season 4 ended with the ending of volume 14. So the next thing that would be animated, if we're just trying to follow along with the main series, is volume 15. And they could do it in maybe 2 episodes, because for the most part, volume 15 is more of a laid back transitional type of light novel. So there's not too much happening in that one. We basically get to see the aftermath and how the party deals with the events of the previous arc with Juggernaut and the expedition, and we get to see like the results of their statuses and stuff like that. And there's also a few stories that take place in the past, where we get to see a past story about Lily, a past story about Wealth. And those are things that the anime could just straight up cut, because they're really not that important. They're not as important as the things that were skipped in season 2. So honestly, they could adapt all of volume 15 within probably 2 OVAs, which is something that the anime has never done yet, as I pointed out. Like, all the OVAs have always been fan service, but that would be a interesting option to do if they just want like a potential season 5 to cover volumes 16 through 18, which is 3 light novel volumes, which is the same amount of volumes that season 4 adapted into 2 cores, and that would probably give it some pretty good pacing, because season 4 is something of a gift from the gods for light novel readers. Like, we actually got the pacing that we wanted, as opposed to what happened with seasons 2 and season 3. So OVAs that cover some of the material from volume 15 is definitely an option. If we are going to continue with the fan service route of OVAs, then this time I'm not going to be as ticked off about it, because we really didn't skip much of anything with season 4. So go ahead and have at it, guys. Go do what you want this time. I'll be okay with it for once. But if we are going to do a fan service thing, Astrea Familia. do an Astrea Familia episode. That'd be fun. We get to see the girls before they die. And then you rewatch season 4, then you go, oh yeah, that's what happened. So that's another option if they want to go with an OVA. Now, I know a lot of people are just wondering, like, why not just announce season 5? And let's just say, hypothetically, if they did do like an OVA or 2, which covered most of the material from volume 15, so they could adapt season 5 covering just volumes 16 through 18, which is pretty good pacing, as I said before. If they did do that, I don't think they would announce that right away for season 5. The reason I think that is because the last volume that season 5 would adapt just released in January 2 months ago. So if they were to announce season 5, like, let's say at Anime Japan over the weekend from when this video is being recorded, when season 5 does come out, they would probably be caught up right next to the light novels, and it would probably take another like 2 at best, or like 2 to 4 years to get like a season 6 if they want to keep making DanMachi anime. So I don't think they want to go forward with continuing the main series with a season 5 right away. Like, they could, it's certainly a possibility, but I don't think they want to do that, because again, if they were to do that, it would be a long time for season 6 to come out, if that is the plan. Because that's kind of the situation that ReZero came into when the season 1 premiered and then ended, because ReZero's first season, the episode that it ended on, it literally like released that last episode, and the volume that it was covering released in the same month. Of course, they had like the plot ahead of time, because ReZero's light novels are basically reformatting the original web novel. So they have an idea of what the story is. In DanMachi's case, we don't even have that, because the DanMachi is the light novels. There is no web novel for DanMachi. Omori Sensei is writing them one at a time from from straight from his brain. So yeah, ReZero season 1 ended, and then we didn't get season 2 until like 4 years later. They probably don't want a similar thing happening with DanMachi, which is why I don't think season 5 is going to be announced right away. Now, as for like, it's not a lot of anime series get multiple seasons, let alone 4. So who knows if we're going to even keep on going. But I think with season 4 of DanMachi, it's clear that this is probably the most popular the property has been since season 1 in terms of the West. So I don't think it would be a stretch to say that DanMachi is currently peaking right now, especially with it being the 10th anniversary of the franchise and them trying to announce a bunch of things. And that last one, that 10th, is what we're talking about right now, what it could potentially be. So, if it's not going to be a season 5, what do I think they could announce as an anime project? So one thing that makes a lot of sense to me is to capitalize the popularity of season 4 and simply adapt Astrea Record into an anime, because we just got introduced to all the Astrea Familia members with season 4. So why not like take that popularity of season 4 and then announce Astrea Record, where you will see Astrea Familia, and not just Astrea Familia, you'll also get to see a younger Freya Familia. You'll get to see how Wataru gets his level up for level 7. You'll get to see a younger Loki Familia. You'll get to see a very young Eyes as a child. So there's a lot of things to look forward to besides just Astrea Familia being in Astrea Record, and I don't want to spoil like too much on what happens in that, but Astrea Record, of course, is the story from the 3rd anniversary of the mobile game, and all the anniversary stories are written by Omori Sensei, the author of the light novels, and Astrea Record, of course, is canon to the series. So Astrea Record is definitely a possibility, I think. That'd be a really cool thing to see animated, and again, doing an Astrea Record anime makes a lot of sense, coming off of season 4 where Astrea Familia and Ryu are heavily featured. And with the main series of DanMachi having 4 seasons, some of you may not remember, but there's also a side series to DanMachi, heavily featuring characters from Loki Familia, including Eyes, called S4 Oratoria, and that had an anime quite a few years ago. Just 1 season of 12 episodes, and I did not like it. I did not like the S4 Oratoria anime. Not because I think the story is bad, because I enjoyed the S4 Oratoria light novels, but the anime adaptation was pretty mediocre, or less than mediocre, because to be honest, guys, when I watched S4 Oratoria while it was airing, while there was only like a few books out at the time, I think 3 might have released in the middle of S4 Oratoria season 1 in English. But as I was watching the anime, I dropped it. I dropped it in the middle of watching it in the season. I might have dropped it like episode 5 or something. Like I was that angry at the adaptation. Like, cut content aside, they really don't do a great job of showcasing like the characters or showcasing like Eyes' thoughts. Like, this was Eyes' opportunity to get fleshed out as a character, and the light novels do that a little bit by showing her thoughts, but the anime just doesn't really try to go there. And the tone is very weird in the anime, because it feels like they keep going for like more comedy and inserting it into places where it's not necessary. And oh man, I don't like talking about it. I don't like talking about the S4 Oratoria anime. I love the story. I love the books. Like, it starts getting really, really good at book 6. And the funny thing is, guys, the mobile game has been adapting S4 Oratoria light novels, like post where the anime left off. Currently, like as we speak, there is an event in the mobile game right now where they are adapting the 10th S4 Oratoria light novel, and that showcases Loki Familia's point of view of the Xenos arc, where where Bell is trying to get the Xenos back into the dungeon and Loki Familia is in his way. You get to actually see Loki Familia's point of view of that event in volume 10 of S4 Oratoria. So that's kind of cool if you're interested in that. But yeah, with the S4 Oratoria anime, like one of 2 things basically would need to happen if they want to go forward with making another S4 Oratoria anime project. And that's, 1, announce season 2 and give it the same kind of attention and care that they've been giving to season 4 of DanMachi. And then there's the second option where we forget that Sword Oratoria season 1 happened and just reboot it properly this time. Because we actually have an opportunity to do that, because there's only been one season and 12 episodes. So yeah, either a Sword Oratoria season 2 or just a straight up reboot. But I feel like both of those things have a low chance of happening. Mostly because, again, it'd be very strange for the mobile game to be continuing to adapt the Sword Oratoria light novels into a visual novel format when they have plans to make a season 2 of Sword Oratoria. Like, as much as I wish to see a lot of the stuff in Sword Oratoria animated, particularly like Volume 6, Volume 12, Volume 12 of Sword Oratoria is almost like the end game of Avengers. Like, it's crazy. Like, to see Volume 12 of Sword Oratoria animated would be incredible, but I don't know how we get there, especially based off how they completely botched the adaptation of season 1. So we discussed potentially OVAs covering Volume 15, a potential season 5, Sword Oratoria, a reboot or a second season, Astrea record, which I would really like animated. And there's also besides the Sword Oratoria side series, there's another side series called Familia Chronicle, which focuses on individual characters. There's only 2 installments out right now. One's episode Ryu, the other one is episode Freya. And honestly, like, they could do a one-core adaptation of both those novels. So like just like divide it into like 6 episodes and 6 episodes. So I think episode Freya is a bit longer. So the division could be more like 5 and 7 potentially. But it would work pretty well because, again, season 4 is heavily focused on Ryu, so announce an adaptation of both current Familia Chronicle novels, the first one being Ryu and then the second one being Freya, and it works perfectly as a transition into season 5 because, again, season 4 is coming off of Ryu's arc, and then you start Familia Chronicles installments of episode Ryu, and then it goes into episode Freya, and then season 5 would be a little bit centered on Freya, and I'm not gonna say how or in what context, but there's going to be a bit more about Freya in season 5, so that would be a really good way to transition between season 4 and season 5, is by adapting Familia Chronicle episodes Ryu and Freya in between. The only thing I think would be awkward is that it's not like this is chronological, because parts of episode Ryu takes place after the war game in season 2 of the main series, and then the second part of that novel takes place 5 years in the past, when Ryu is saved by Seer and she gets used to the tavern. And then with episode Freya, it basically takes place before the start of DanMachi's season 1. So in terms of like anime only viewers, it might be a bit confusing watching that, so I'm not sure if it's appropriate for like a TV anime format, but it would be kind of cool to see those animated. And besides an OVA or a TV anime season, one other possibility for a new anime project is just like a straight up movie. As for what that movie could be, like, it could be an original movie like Heir of the Orion was, but Heir of the Orion was non-canon. Like, one cool thing I would really like to see is adapting one of the mobile game stories into a movie, like particularly Argonaut. And that story is from the 2nd anniversary of the mobile game, also written by Omori Sensei. And a lot of the characters that appear in that Argonaut story are like ancestors or like just heavily resemble characters you already know. So Argonaut looks a heck of a lot like Belle. Fina looks a lot like Lafia. The princess in that looks a lot like Eyes, so on and so forth. But that would be really cool to see as a movie. And Argonaut's also getting a light novel adaptation coming out, and I think they said in the summer. But again, that's for Japan. We still have no news about future light novel installments being released in English. There's no announcements quite yet, no set dates for volume 18, and it's freaking me out. Anyway, so yeah, if we were to go the movie route, I'd really like to see Argonaut as a movie. Another original movie like Era the Orion would be fine, though there's always that weird thing about it like not being canon. Like, as much as I enjoyed that movie, I like Artemis a lot, and I like some of the stuff that Belle has to go through in that movie. But again, it's non-canon, so I feel really weird about it. And then, like, potentially, we could have another original movie, and this time it'd be canon. So that would be really cool. But again, there's already cool material out there they could adapt, like Argonaut, so I'd rather we see that instead. But that pretty much concludes my thoughts on what a potential new anime announcement could be for DanMachi coming off of Season 4. It being the 10th anniversary right now for the series, and us just waiting on what that 10th and final announcement is for the 10th anniversary. And again, it would be very strange if it was not a new anime project of some sort, because you think they want to end off the announcements with some kind of big event or big announcement, so something big to get us excited for. And again, Anime Japan 2023 is happening this weekend, so maybe we'll see something then, but I'm constantly like checking it every day to see if they announce something for that 10th announcement, and I'm desperately hoping that it's some type of anime project. But again, those are my thoughts on what a potential new anime project could be with DanMachi, ranging from OVAs, Season 5, Oratoria Reboot, or Season 2, Astrea record being animated, Familia Chronicle, a movie, maybe Argonaut. But yeah, comment down below on what your hopes are for a new anime project. Like, are you hoping that we just go straight into Season 5? Even though that would mean that we probably wouldn't be getting a Season 6 for like 3 or 4 years, because we'd be really close to where the light novels are right now. But yeah, guys, go ahead and leave your comments down below. As always, if you like this video and want to see more DanMachi content, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Remember to follow me on my socials, and this is Lauren, your guild advisor, signing out.